Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Sunday, July 23rd. I kind of wish it would stop lining up so that I had to stream on Sundays, but we'll see what happens. A lot of stuff to do today. First of all, let's trade this out. So we need to do mage cards, spell cards, and elemental cards, which probably will work fine. This Tavern Brawl has already been done, and we have an Arena Brawl for each of the different accounts. So, I suppose we should just start. And the reason why we're doing these arena runs is because we have extra arena runs on the European and Asia account, and we're getting a free victory, I think, at least on the first try. So let's see, what should I play then? Priest or Druid? I'll take Priest because that has a heal ability, which is probably slightly better. And let's see, destroy all minions with 2 or less attack for 4. Odd. I would have thought something like this, maybe try to go for a Murloc deck. I guess just on average you're at such a low chance of ever actually getting enough Murlocs to do a Murloc deck that it's not worth it. And I guess this card is just not as good. Interesting, I wouldn't have picked that. I'm going to try and actually look at the cards this time. Interesting, now this Murloc, this 2/3 Murloc, is better than this 4/2 or this 3/3. Wish I could. Can I adjust this? There's a little bit of a. It's a little bit too low. The Hearth Arena overlay here. It's blocking information that would be useful to make sure which mana cost. 3/2 with taunt beats these other two, I suppose. This 2/2 with adapt. Yeah, I'm not really big into the adapt, and restoring health with a card is not quite as good as taunt apparently. Let's see. At the start of your turn, reduce the cost of this card. That's probably pretty good. I would think maybe this is pretty good too, and this is pretty good too. And I guess on average they are good cards, but this one's better according to Hearth Arena, wherever Hearth Arena gets its information. Enemies lose stealth. Interesting. I've seen this irritate me in a couple places, but you've got to really hold on to that card to use its ability. I guess more often than not you're just not going to. He has a freeze, which apparently, being a 1 mana 2/1 with the ability to freeze an enemy, beats Death Rattle give +1/+1. I wouldn't say that at all. Or giving your opponent +1 health, restoring 1 health to your hero. What's even more strange is purely on tier list, they're saying this is 17 less than this. And I like this card. I play this card usually. So obviously my mindset is not where the tier list's mindset is. Your minions cost 2 more. That's a pretty bad card, I would say. Discover a spell and cast it with random targets. Not a card I'd really want to play because it's so random. Charge, can't attack heroes this turn. I'm noticing on these arena runs too that these characters simply don't seem to be the cards that I've been playing with. They're either heavily focusing on some cards that are newer or something else. Normally this would be a toss-up between the Violet Illusionist and Raging Worgen, but since Violet Illusionist is better as a 3-drop, I suggest you pick up Violet Illusionist in this situation. So Just as a tier score, they're both 55, but because of my current deck, they're saying do this. Deal 2 damage to the enemy hero for 3 mana is ranked a 9. Wow. I would not consider this card to be just awful. Whenever your opponent draws a card, gain +1/+1. I have seen this one work. Hey Kofi. Or draw a card when you die. Interesting. This one synergizes with Pompous Thespian because of the taunt, and so they want me to take Daring Reporter. I've seen that synergy. I could have figured that out if I'd thought about it and looked at all my previous cards. Hearth Arena really is what it's doing is it's looking at each card, and you could do that. You could just go, I'm going to consider every single one of these cards to every single card I've already collected. Or you can just have an app do it way faster. Purely by tier list, we want the Stampede Kodo. I would think Master Spell might be interesting. Or even this, but they seem to think Stampede and Kodo is better. And then purely by tier list, they want to discover a minion that costs 8 or more and summon it. Want to play a game? I can go on Americas in Europe. We'll play after this arena run, Kofi. I'm more than willing to do that. I have all kinds of daily quests, both for the European and the America account. Let's see. So this is a little bit less than Free from the Amber, and this is slightly less, but it synergizes with Daring Reporter. Only if it gets Divine Shield from an elemental though. So interesting, it didn't consider that synergy. And here's another example of it not really synergizing enough. So it's saying take Elven Archer. However, this one synergizes with Rockpool Hunter, which is the Murloc. Give a friendly Murloc 1/1. And Circle of Healing and this. I really don't have my head wrapped around the value of these cards. I never grasped that, obviously. Because Hearth Arena is just telling me, it's speaking almost a completely different language to me. Yeah, it's telling me cards are valuable that I've long since dismissed. It's telling me things that I play all the time aren't as valuable. Like, I'd Faceless Manipulator. Probably would want to play that over whenever a minion is healed, summon a 2/2 crystal. Or silence all the minions with Death Rattle. I probably wouldn't want to play that one. But oddly, Faceless Manipulator of the 3 is the lowest. I would bet it's going to pick this. But I'm wrong. It wants this. So, can't a taunt because it synergizes with Daring Reporter. So we'll take that. 2 legendaries back to back. If your deck has no duplicates, great. Although we don't really need too many mid-game drops, I suggest you pick Kazarix as a get a custom spell. Do I have any duplicates? No. I guess that's going to be more and more the case too. Destroy a minion, resummon it. I've seen this card. Works pretty well. If we use Hearth Arena and do arena runs, you're just not gonna have a great chance of having the same 2 cards. And getting a lot of gold versions of cards. And personally, that's something I'd like to change. I'd like to not have that happen. I don't want 1 gold card in my deck. So take the 2-5 with charge over this. Wow. Okay. Got 6 more choices, and interestingly enough, instead of taking Free from the Amber, which has a tier score of 76, they're telling me to take this, choose a friendly minion, and summon a 1/1 copy of it. Almost intentionally to make sure I don't have any duplicates. I see value. Dragonfire Potion. Deal $5 to all minions except dragons. That one was way higher than everything else. Although Shadow Visions does not really have any synergy with it, with our deck, I suggest you pick it as the most value of these options. Interesting. So that value seemed to have been balanced immediately by a pretty bad choice. Take this and 2 more cards. And now they do want me to take Faceless Manipulator, just because the other options were worse. And Shadow Mountainous could fit our attrition deck and has the most value. And sometimes they throw in these words like attrition, which I assume that translates into wearing down the opponent. And see, we've already got that first win, so let's hope we can do a 7 victory. So I played an arena run, since I got a free arena run on my cell phone other account, but sadly it seems like you cannot pick the region on a cell phone version, at least on the Android version of Hearthstone. So I logged out, tried to log back in, and well, did log back in, and it's just not an option. You can't switch over to the European or Asia account, so I can't friend myself on those accounts. I imagine I would have to find some kind of hack to get onto the European or Asian Play Store and do it that way. I'm just gonna end the turn here. So that makes it only more important to have real friends on the European and Asian accounts, because I can't even do those daily quests by myself. My European account also got a watch and learn yesterday, and I was able to watch somebody and learn the spell. During your turn, your hero is immune. So do I want to play this and immediately kill this, or just play this? Let's see. Let's take that. That is a great move, actually. In the turn, let's see if we can get them to summon maybe 2 more, if they could even do 3 more things with attacks of 2. Next turn I can just play this and kill them all. So this. So for a coin in that seems like that was a fine enough way to burn 3 of his early characters. And we're just kind of playing towards mid-game here. So I've been very heavy on arena runs lately. Not really surprisingly though, because when the opponent draws a card, this will become a 4/4, but they would be able to defeat it. I'm just gonna do this. Job done. There's really not a ton of news. Again, I seem to say that every single time. We went for, I think, 5, maybe even 6 hours last time playing all those arena runs, and I feel like this this stream today will probably be like that again, but in general, we're going to have a slowing effect. That being said, streaming for 5 hours got me like 51 views on that video, and I've seen in that same time frame a significant portion of subscribers too. So as much as I
look behind you.
That was a waste. That was a completely stupid move. So as much as it took a bunch of time, it also has helped my channel way more than anything else that has aired on my channel. And eventually it is just going to kind of boil down to, if I just streamed every single day for as long as I could potentially stream playing Hearthstone, it would probably get me more subscribers. The question is, how many of those subscribers can I convert to people who want to watch me play something different? Because if it's all just subscribers that want to see me play Hearthstone, then I just become a Hearthstone live streamer and nothing else. Once Hearthstone stops being popular in people's minds, all those people go away, and that's not really what I want for my channel, nor do I want to abandon playing all other games ever. Even though that's pretty much what I have done. I've coined this new phrase called the summer slowdown, and I think I just need to account for it going forward. Just admit to myself that in the summer, when it's hot, for some crazy reason, I am just not that good at playing games. I've literally not done anything, I think, in the 3 days. I did, well, not literally, I did schedule videos, and I did look towards the future on what games I'll record next, but as far as actually getting to Wolfenstein: The New Order, I haven't gotten there. I did do Return to Wolfenstein. Oddly, I also found out that Kofi, I'm on the America's account right now. Blizzard has a Wolfenstein game that came out before the New Order called just Wolfenstein, or that they don't even sell, so interesting. Alright. Take this and then attack this and one friendly copy of something.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Let's start just getting rid of people.
Recipe.
I'm not starting off the best. But yeah, I've really dropped the ball, and I've been saying that for probably a month too. It no longer is it just a fluke. Is it just a bad week? It's been pretty bad. I imagine if I could remember correctly, I'd probably realize I was pretty slow to record things during the summer last year too. I'm always constantly trying to improve and do more, but clearly I'm not getting it all done. I'm not really getting ahead. I'm really falling behind. Part of it certainly comes from the fact that the Lego games were pretty easy to play. It's easy to sit in front of a Lego game even when it's screwing up. Well, there's my first loss. uh, to get a lot of time. And because I've just given up on playing Lego games because they're lagging for I have no reason. I have no idea why. I think it's my video card, something about the 970. There is some good news on that in just very general terms, that it sounds like the next series is only maybe half a year to a year away for so instead of a 1080, like an 1180 might get announced, and if that happens and it has faster RAM on it and such, I probably will try to upgrade. And in the process of upgrading, I'm hoping to go back and maybe readdress the Resident Evil games and the Lego games that were lagging and see if they work on that new hardware. Which there's no guarantee they will, but a slight upgrade on my Kofi sent a friend request. Let's see. There we go. A slight upgrade on my video card from the 970 to an 1170 would also help just keep me above the curve and help keep everything looking good at the ultimate settings at 1080. Not gonna go to 4K or anything like that, but I do want to keep the games at the ultimate settings for most of them. If I can possibly do that. Let's see. This will kind of suck if I just lose immediately. I've also been having internet trouble, so I'm gonna just warn people right now, like, there's a possibility my internet service provider, I think, is trying to go to IP version 6, and in the process of doing that, I feel like they are screwing up my internet on the weekends, in the middle of the day even. So, like yesterday, my internet was out when I went to the grocery store, and when I came back, it was back, but for all I know, it was out for a significant amount of time.
This only works on the simple-minded.
And that was a very odd grocery store trip too, because as I'm about to check out, I look at the grocery cart and it's half as full as it normally is, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, I've made some mistake here. I have forgotten something, because there's no way that this should be this empty. I guess I can't do anything, so I'll just do that. And so as the checkout cashier is checking things out, the amount that it normally is half as much as it's supposed to be, or it normally is, and I'm like, man, I must have missed half of the things I should have purchased. Or I went to the grocery store twice as early as I should have. And Kofi is saying, be right back. Okay, that's fine. I wonder. And so I will probably at some point realize that I made a huge mistake and wasted all my time at the grocery store because I missed a bunch of things, but I'm not sure. That'll take a while. And that too probably comes right to the heat problem of the summer. It's just so hot. It was 119 degrees inside my car when I got in. With the air conditioner running and in the shade, it got down to 102 degrees. But unlivable conditions, pretty much. It just unlivable, I suppose, is the only term you can really say. It's ridiculously ridiculous. I'm gonna hold on to this for value. I'm gonna play this to finish this. Do this here. Restore 3 health here. With this. And in the turn. I think that works best. So yeah, the heat's probably just draining me of all desire to do anything and all energy to do anything. Certainly my insomnia is not helping either. I've shifted over to waking up at like 10 in the morning after sleeping 4 hours, doing less than an hour's worth of activity, then rolling over and going back to sleep, and then back to waking up around 2 p.m. in the evening. And it's certainly not even affected here because I started late today by my own standard, and that's really why I just can never really promise any steady stream schedule. That and the fact that regardless of as consistent as I can be, Hearthstone is very inconsistent because it tells you, it changes things on you and gives you extra quests some days, which is the reason why this is happening on a Sunday, is because they changed the order. Let's start going over the news. I am seeing though that the chat is disconnecting and reconnecting on my phone. That's not a good sign. But let's go over the news anyways. Slime Rancher is leaving early access on August 1st. Is this really news? I want to ask that. Let me know in the comments. Is a game leaving early access news? Should they deserve to get a secondary announcement? Because they've already announced that they were out when they said the game was available to everyone in early access. So why am I giving them a second...
You can't hide from me.
A second chance there. Well, I destroyed the stealth for kind of no reason.
An autograph? I suppose.
Should we kill these two?
Hey, give me a minute.
Job's done.
Thank you.
But whatever. I mean, I suppose I can't really complain about things being not news when I am pretty consistently now not filling up my whiteboard with news. I suppose every game leaving early access is a small bit of information. It's the real announcement, I suppose, of that game being available. Let's see. So here's the deal. If I play this, I think I can switch things around. Look, if I attack with this to him, to this guy, and so watch, we do this, and then I have to do this.
What is real?
Darn it. I was gonna try to do something different, but I guess it doesn't matter. Next turn I can play this, turn after that I can play this. hopefully turn this around. The JRPG focused developer called Nihon Falcom has said they want all of their games on Steam, and they're slowly porting all of their games to Steam, so it's more than just we want them on Steam, we're actually getting them on Steam, which is more of the movement that I think is happening here, where I really do think that the Japanese market is finally embracing the PC. Partially, I imagine that's because PCs have finally become small enough and powerful enough. Custom spell.
Last, a worthy disciple.
Create a 10 cost spell. Deal 8 damage. Gain 10 armor. Summon an 8/8 demon. Or transfer everything to a 1/1. Sheep. Now I can play this.
I can't target stealthed minions.
Darn it.
At last, a worthy disciple.
Job's done.
I already talked about the summer slowdown. I'm not so sure I'm gonna do a Thanksgiving November. I have enough games to really cover all the games I've gotten free up to this point since starting my channel to do that. But then I'm also thinking of a Christmas catch-up where I play games and DLC for games that I've already done. For instance, the Talos Principle DLC is one where 8 damage. The Talos Principle DLC is one I want to get to, and I've wanted to get to, but I've never really had the chance. I can see also my bandwidth is not great right now. Like, I don't know what is going on, but OBS is giving me trouble. Whatever. I mean, you just gotta push forward. So the Christmas catch-up in particular, I don't have enough games for, and having 3 theme months in a row seems like a poor decision on my part. Like, we have to really do the Halloween month. There's just far too many horror games out there that I'd like to keep in Halloween, and frankly there's so many horror games out there that we're pretty much going to end up doing this regardless. Let's go ahead and see if we can see if something's streaming.
Begin.
The light shall bring victory.
Maybe that'll get me some more bandwidth there. Probably unrelated to this, Verizon Wireless was caught throttling Netflix, but and then said it was a test. That is, there's 2 ways to look at the story though. First of all, Verizon Wireless is not Verizon, or at least not legally. It's the same people internally. They trade CEOs back and forth like it was nothing, but legally Verizon Landline and Verizon Wireless are different, and so their networks are different, and the wireless carriers have never had to follow net neutrality. It has always been allowed, and it's almost, the argument almost kind of makes sense until you break it down and realize that the argument that they make is that they shouldn't be forced to follow net neutrality because they're wireless, because their networks are so bad, and then you just never take that next logical step where it's like, well, why is your network so bad? It's because you haven't invested in it. Yeah. So T-Mobile has had this plan for a long time where it's like we would exclude streaming Netflix and music on these services from your data plan. That's part of that would be a violation of net neutrality too, on the limited things. So it's worth recognizing that. So yes, they were throttling, but they were throttling on a service that they were allowed to throttle on. However, the other perspective is they are certainly setting up and testing to throttle on the landlines and destroy net neutrality. And here I am right now having network trouble, or bandwidth trouble. And my internet for the past 2 years has been perfectly fine. It's been great. And so for it to change so drastically is almost certainly a factor. 4 damage to all minions and deal 5 damage.
Job's done.
I'm about to lose. So just, I would say, keep your eyes and ears open and keep pressuring people for net neutrality as much as you can, and don't give up hope that even if net neutrality does get changed today, we may have a different FCC chairman next year that will have to, that might pay more attention to people's desires, and the
Job's done.
I thought that would have killed him. Oh well. The Pokemon Go Fest had widespread connection problems. Speaking of connection problems, so players will be compensated. So I think anybody that was in the Go Fest will get the legendary birds, or one of them. So that seems like fair enough compensation. Let's see. Let's continue down there. There's a visual novel called Song of Memories that's coming to the West for the PS4 this fall, and it's coming to the Switch for the it's coming to the Switch in 2017, and the PC in 2018. So that's another game announcement. Probably not a being a visual novel. I seriously doubt at some point there's going to be this one visual novel that comes out, and it just brings all the people who already know they don't want to play visual novels. It's going to convince them to play. And I'm about to lose. Well, this arena has certainly sucked. And this puts us in a weird position now, because I probably won't want to do any more arena runs. Even with the free victories, we're seeing an average here of not great. Not great at all. And my connection issues didn't get me any victories at all. This was a 0-win arena run with Hearth Arena. So we went from 70, a 7-win, to a 0-win. Which balances you back down to 3.5 wins on average. And if when you look at it at that perspective, it's just not working. I got no gold back for that. So go back to the arena run. We purchase this. And you still have 1 win on me. And we could keep on doing that, certainly. But I don't really want to do that. Yeah, that was a very disappointing thing, and I don't know if that's just because I wasn't paying attention. And I think I just had a bad run of cards. So now the question will be, is Ko-fi available, and will my internet work? I need to play as the mage and do a bunch of spells and play mage cards, and the process play elemental cards. So I don't even know if my mage things are there. And I think he's watching, so let's see if we can, if we kick him up here so we can challenge him here. Let's see if he's there or not. There was a new trademark that hints at Nintendo 64 Classic. The thing to really, this player has no, okay, so he's got to play standard, which I don't even know if I can do the standard with the mage, honestly. Oops. This might be just undoable for Ko-fi right now, because he needs to open some card pack somewhere and have a wild card. At least one, I guess, is required. So with the Nintendo 64, the selection's not as good as the NES or the Super NES, and we've already seen that the price on the Super NES Classic was more and the selection was less. I think they're being very cheap on storage space. The Nintendo 64 is going to be even worse. So if the Nintendo 64 Classic comes out, there's a potential that it's simply full of 20, maybe 30 games, where you would have gotten maybe 40 on the Super NES. It's just a rough guesstimate, and then maybe 50 on the NES. And the selection's not going to be that great. You're probably not going to get GoldenEye 64. You'll probably get Mario 64 and the Zelda games. The games you do get will be good. Well, it doesn't seem like he's online. So he said be right back, and I'm gonna take that to mean that he has left the building. Here's a Battlecry Elemental thing. Rank 19, might as well play ranked. Let's go. I kind of have to wonder if you think about it, at a certain point, maybe it would just be easier, instead of them making a small PC that's effectively a Raspberry Pi running emulation of their game. Maybe it would be easier if they just scaled down their original designs and just re-released a smaller version, a cheaper version of an actual NES that played actual NES cartridges, or Nintendo 64 cartridges. Honestly, probably you couldn't do this until you got to a Wii. But if the they were going to do a Nintendo 64 Classic next year or the year after next year. Then you're talking GameCube the year after that, and then you're talking Wii after that. And I think you probably would just be easier to scale forward that way, and just build a cheaper version of the Wii, which is kind of what they did first. Yeah, and I don't know what you do for the GameCube as far as classic games. And the longer the wait, the longer that it will, the less likely you would be able to pull that trick off, because the game discs themselves are going to stop being available for purchase. Like, I imagine right now you could go get Wii games from GameStop, but anything earlier than that, I bet not. You're not going to get GameCube games from an average GameStop. Yeah. So, yeah, they are going to have to do classic versions of this, and there is an issue too of the fact that
Wanted, dead or alive.
you're not
Job's done.
you're not set very well on the emulation, even on Nintendo 64. Like the Nintendo 64 emulation, from what I've seen and heard, is still less than 100%. And when you start going to GameCube and Wii, it's gonna be iffy on some games and good on others. And then it's gonna become more about them making classic versions of games that they know will work, versus making classic versions of games that they just kind of hope will work. Let's see, I gotta get rid of this guy. Moving on. There was a bit of an interview from a Jeremy Heath-Smith, who was formerly from Core Design, and he was one of the employees that worked on Tomb Raider 2 and the other Tomb Raider games. He let out some interesting things, that Tomb Raider 2 had to be written within a year. So just the writing of the game took a year, which means that the development time was probably about 8 months. So 8 months to make a game, when in all right, if you're gonna do it right, you probably should take 24 months at least 2 years to make a game, which is part of my problem with announcing games in early access, then announcing them a year later when they come out of early access, because really that is just part of the development time where the game should be in development, and we shouldn't know anything about it and shouldn't get our hopes up.
You want it? I got it.
Let's see. Probably should have taken ice barrier there. The one thing I don't have to do right now, Kofi says he's back. Welcome back. The one thing you don't have to do today, at least for this account, is get any victories. So this one game alone might potentially get me everything I need done. Let's see.
Wanted, dead or alive.
Kofi, you missed the end of a horrible arena run. 0 wins. If the Frost Festival hadn't given me 1 win, it would have been 0 wins. It was 3 losses directly through it. I mostly just blame bad cards. Anyways, continuing, Jeremy Heath Smith said also that they worked very long hours for Tomb Raider 2, but they were paid an awful lot of money, which is really the probably worst way to look at things. Is like I had to overwork myself and overexert myself, but I was paid a lot of money, so everything's fine because of that. And I'm like, no, it doesn't really work that way. And having internet connection issues too. So
Want it? I got it.
let's see. So yeah, as somebody who has worked way too hard in a job and gotten paid pretty good money for it, the money dries up the exhaustion and time you lose and how much you prematurely age yourself, and that doesn't balance out. He also said that doing Tomb Raider Age of Darkness just about killed us, and that's what I'm talking about. Is like a lot of jobs, well, not a lot, but there's a significant number of jobs in the United States at least, where you can work extremely hard and get paid extremely well. NFL is a good example of that, where you only play for 3 years and ruin your body in the process.
One for the boss, two for me.
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
I didn't play that right at all. Let's see.
I'll get him.
Cooking time.
So yeah, the NFL is a good example. Working on oil rigs is another example of something where you'll get paid really well, but you won't keep that job, or you won't be able to continue working at that job for very long. The Crash Bandicoot unreleased level called Stormy Ascent has been added as DLC to the Insane Trilogy. That level apparently was so hard that even the developers said they couldn't include it, which is kind of ridiculous because the entire game seems like it is incredibly hard.
I am freed from the curse.
Let's see. There's this new service called Share Gaming Hub that wants to be the YouTube of gaming screenshots. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. First of all, I don't think people are that into making video game screenshots. And second of all, it's kind of a copyright violation. It's very hard for somebody to just take a screenshot and then claim that's their original art. Like, when you are in a virtual world and all the art is being rendered or animated by somebody else. Like, you're not adding anything there. You're not commenting on anything there. You're not really news reporting on anything there. And the article I read said this was the YouTube of screenshots. It would probably be better characterized as an Instagram of screenshots. And I know the internet is full of vagrant copyright violations as far as pictures, and it's one of the best things about the internet, but I just don't think you can run an entire site where it would be one central location where not only would this potentially hurt YouTubers, because screenshots that I put up on YouTube might be comparable to the screenshots elsewhere, on this service, and then people might be able to say, because we see it on this service and YouTube, we know that it's our copyrighted image, therefore we can target you better. It seems like it might very well backfire. Alright, so 50 mage cards. Let's see if we can do this. So Kofi, when I tried to, while you weren't connected, I tried to send you a friend request on Wild, and it said you don't have a single Wild card. So you need to open a card pack of something Wild. No, you can't open a open a card pack. You need to make with dust as soon as possible on this account a wild card if I was going to ever play you on the wild decks. And that's kind of important because I suppose you just need to make one wild card with dust. So go find a common in one of the things. He declined it. Let's see. Like, how would you do this? I guess I need to do this on my other accounts too. Is you would either need to buy Nexramus or go to a Goblins vs. Gnomes, go to crafting, and find something that you could craft for the smallest amount of possible dust, so that then I'm not limited to just the 5 standard decks I have here. Because as this is right now, I'm pretty much just playing you for fun. Like, none of the daily quests that I need to do are battle cry. I guess I should have played Druid because there are some battle cries in that. Or mage cards or elemental cards, which are my 3 daily quests on this account. So yet again, I have to be a burden on my fans, which I really am just kind of using and abusing my fans here, and say I need you to make a wild card after going through all the setup on an account that's not your primary account, so I can play my wild decks, and I guess I need to do the same.
Job's done.
Let's see. So since we're just playing here, let me know if I need to help you, Kofi, for any daily quests, and let me know if you want me to back off and let you show something off. Otherwise, guess I'm just gonna play it like a normal game. I needed to have broken up the episode too, and I forgot to do that. We'll do that after this game. There's a fighter game, I think. Yeah, it's a fighter game coming out called. It's another one of these Japanese long title games. Under Night in -birth exe : late bracket st bracket, and it's coming out. So Under Night in Birth exe latest. It's coming out to Europe in Q4 of 2017. It's coming for PS4, PS3, and Vita. And it's one of these fighter games that looks kind of interesting. Certainly. I'm not going to get into it. I only have the mage and her basic cards. Yeah. Do you have... What are your daily quests that you have right now? Because if I can help you do your daily quests, then you'll have gold to purchase One Night in Karazhan before it's out, and then you could go through that and get that whole set of cards. Those aren't wild cards, but they're about to be wild cards, so that's something to focus on. suppose it would also help you get gold so you could do arena runs, so you could get dust. Too. Having these different accounts is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous burden.
No look, say
Job's done.
There's a game called Sign More EX, SINE space MORA EX. It launches August 8th for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and then later for the Switch. I am noticing on the announcements today of games, and a lot of times I just repeat the same announcements. Kofi says he doesn't even know what his daily quests are. I'm noticing that there is slightly more Switch releases getting announced. So Switch is slowly growing in popularity, but it's a delayed release, and there's still a lot of problems. I was watching Giant Bomb people play the what was it? I was watching them play Splatoon 2, and that I would like to play Splatoon, and I would like to play Splatoon 2, but I want to play it on a PC. I don't want to do I don't want to play it on a Switch. I don't want to have to deal with all of that.
Job's done.
So here's what I'm thinking, Kofi. It would make the most sense if we let Kofi win here. So, Kofi, you should try to do as much damage to my face as possible. I'll get you down to 1 if I can, and then stop. And then you should try to do as much as possible. I don't think I have any real cards to heal my character, so you're still only going to do about 30 damage to the face. But I assume you taking some damage is also going to give you some experience, and so this will just be a trade for trade. Try to get your cards, your card levels up, and do the same with all of that. So if he only has the mage right now, that means he's still at halfway through the introductory tutorial thing that takes forever, because you have to beat all the other characters in practice solo mode before you can play with them. Just wasting cards. Oops. Could have attacked there. Another game called Blockle, which is a puzzle adventure, is going to launch for the Switch on August 3rd. I wonder if that one's already on Steam in particular. But as much as I'm not really happy with Nintendo and haven't been for a long time, I suppose I still will announce their games, just because it is news, even if I don't like it. And I want to try to be as objective as possible. Here's a prime example. After 3 years of being in early access, the horror roguelike game Darkwood has just now going to launch on August 17th on PC. So 3 years of development was clearly needed to make this game sellable past whatever development they did before then, and before it was released in early access. And just now, it's supposed to, they think they're going to get people to play it. Well, the people that would have played it have been playing it in an inferior version for 3 years, and I don't think Darkwood's going to do that well. Like, I cannot think of a single game. Early access being relatively new, there might be a reason for that, but I cannot think of a single game that was in early access for a prolonged amount of time, left early access, and then succeeded. It either the games succeed while they're in early access and they just kind of continue that way, or they never succeed. If anybody can think of a single example, I suppose Minecraft arguably is a close enough example. So let's break here. This is going to be it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.